Hi guys, you join me on a slightly grey overcast so-called summer's day today in the UK, and never mind, we're driving the Kia Sportage 2016/17 model today, and this is the long termer, and we've covered around 5,500 miles in the 7 months I've had this, so give it a really thorough test. So basically, this is sort of the final drive I'll be showing you and going over a few points of what I'd like and sort of think could be improved with the Sportage. So yeah, let's just get going really. As you'll probably already have noticed, this is the automatic version. This is the 2 litre CRDi 134 horsepower version, and turbo diesel, obviously 4 cylinder, 16 valve, and I've also gone for the 6-speed automatic gearbox as well. Show you its good points and bad points really. Today I'd like to talk about the actual drive of the car today, how it handles, you know, the acceleration, just everything really. On that note, that's the sport button I just put on just now to get past that noisy truck. The sport button does considerably help the acceleration. It does give you a more positive throttle response, and gets through the gears quicker. Let's start off with the stuff I think can be improved on this car. Okay, because we'll cover the positives. I've covered a lot of the positives in the previous video, driving video, and you know, there's obviously there's the online write-up, carproductstested.com, which you can read. It's really thorough regarding an all-round experience of the car, and we've got a couple of updates on there for this 7-month period. Just accelerating it up to 60 miles an hour, which is the speed limit down here. Okay, let's go through the stuff I think could be improved. When you're driving this, it's sort of 60 miles now, 50, let's say 45, 50 miles an hour on a country road, and there's a slower car in front of you and he's maybe doing 45, but you can see something up ahead in the distance. You overtake. Problem is with this car, even in sports mode, it tends to run out of power pretty quickly. I mean, max power is produced at 4,000 RPM. You seem to slow down quite a bit before that, like really when the torque runs out at, you know, 2,500–3,000 RPM, you suddenly find yourself wanting more. The good thing is this has got a manual mode on it, which I really like to use. It's just a simple, you might be able to see my hand down here clicking forwards and backwards. You can hear the gear changes. So it's just a simple click forward and click backwards. I really like it. There's no paddle shifters or anything, you don't need them in this car. It'd be pretty pointless, to be honest. Point I'd like to make is that this gearbox just feel slightly outdated still. It's a 6-speed torque converter automatic, and while it shifts smoothly in these sort of conditions, I've noticed there are quite a lot of occasions when it'll hold it in gear. It's quite frustrating, and there's actually no need for it. You know, it's doing 40 and it refuses to click into 5th gear because it thinks it's not needed. But it's revving too hard, you know, it's revving at sort of 2000 RPM, and you're going to use more fuel, and it'll refuse to drop down until you accelerate sort of, you know, 43, 44, and really if the speed camera's about, that's not what you want. So you have to click over into manual, click it up into 5th, and on those occasions it can be a little bit annoying. I've noticed it before, doing all sorts of speeds where it'll just, if you accelerate hard down an on-ramp onto a dual carriageway or motorway, it'll sit at too high a revs, especially if you've clicked into, if you've pushed the pedal right to the floor. It'll sort of hold it there almost like it thinks you're going to carry on accelerating hard, but then it won't drop down the gear. And again, it's easy just to put it into manual and click to make sure you get into 5th and 6th gears. You know, it's not a massive issue at all, but it just kind of shows the gearbox that it's not anywhere near as modern as some of the other torque converter gearboxes out there. I'm just concentrating right here. So, okay, another issue I've got with this car is that I'm not impressed with the fuel economy. I think the combined average is around 47 miles to the gallon. Considering this is a 2016/17 car, I'd expect better, to be quite honest. My averages are 35 miles to the gallon in these sort of conditions where I'm accelerating, decelerating, you know, on these country roads, and I'll perhaps get 37 if I'm a bit more careful. Well, the issue is 35 to 37 miles to the gallon is pretty awful, really. The problem is this car's quite heavy. It's 1900 kilograms, 1.9 tons at its maximum curb weight, which means it's full of fuel and all the other engine fluids. That's without any people in it, so that's a fairly hefty weight. So that's not going to help, obviously. With the manual gearbox you will get better. This is the all-wheel drive as well, you've got to remember that. But this is a clever system. It'll just stay in front-wheel drive until the all-wheel drive's needed, as in when it slips, etc., and then it'll kick in. But still, obviously, you've got the extra weight of the four-wheel drive system. On a motorway run, I can average around 44-45 miles to the gallon at 70 miles an hour, which, again, that is not great for a modern car. It's okay, it's not too bad considering it's, you know, mid to large size SUV. But again, it's that weight and the gearbox, probably not helping at all. finally, my only other real issue with it's this diesel is lovely and smooth. It's quiet, as you can probably tell. You can't really hear the engine. Even around town, Kia have done brilliantly with the sound ending for this car. And once you lift the bonnet up, it's not exactly, you know, a real rackety engine, but it's a 4-pot diesel. Most 4-pot diesels are quite noisy, really. But considering it's, you know, it's smooth and everything, it's still not, for this sort of day and age, I would think it would be better on fuel than it is. And that from the 2-litre engine, you can maybe get a bit more power out of it. I mean, you can buy to be fair, you can buy a 182 horsepower engine with more torque and 400 newton meters of torque as well. But there you go, it's just a diesel. There is a petrol option for it as well. I mean, I'd just like to see it get a better fuel economy, really. Alright, the positives. Let's just go through these. I've done a few notes here, it's just a quick glance. Right, okay, as an overall package, the Sportage is a hard car to find fault with. Okay, I've just been through all those points where I think, you know, it could be improved here and here, but as an overall package, there's not actually a lot I could only really find from a driver's perspective. Around 4 points, and they're not really huge points either. You know, it's not that none of them are particularly bad. Okay, so one thing I really like about this car is, one thing that comes across is how nice it is to drive. It's really, really relaxing. You're getting this at the end of, you know, a long, hard day at whatever you've been doing, work or anything else, and it's just such a lovely, smooth vehicle. Kia have done really, really well with the suspension and chassis setup. I'm very impressed with the work they've done there. I mean, they clearly aimed the car at our European and UK roads. It handles the bad conditions really well. I wouldn't say it exactly flows over bumpy sections of road. Not in like a Range Rover manner, obviously, but then the price difference is huge. But at the same time, I would say that the overall handling setup, it drives exactly like a car. It doesn't feel too heavy, although it's a heavy vehicle. It doesn't feel its weight when you're driving, you know, fairly quickly down country roads or anything like that. And it handles really nicely. It's just sits there pretty flat. It doesn't wallow all over the place. And when you're in conditions like this where it's a bit more bumpy, you know, these roads are not particularly good in this area, the car just sort of glides over them in an unexpectedly good way. Anybody who says Kia, you know, it's a Kia, they can't be that good, you're just talking nonsense. These Kias are very, very good cars nowadays, and especially for the price. I think this one is 28,000. It's a little bit more expensive now because they've added a couple of things to this KX-3 model, like a panoramic sunroof for standard on this KX-3, and they've updated the stereo system to include Apple CarPlay and the Android, whatever the name is for that, autoplay or something. but it's very comfortable. I mean, the front seat, the driver's seat is really nice. It's nice and wide, it's nice and long for the back of your legs here, and just a very comfortable car to drive in any condition really, whether that be commuting around town and, you know, frustratingly heavy traffic, or like now, just taking it down some country roads at 60 miles an hour. It handles nicely, it's quiet. For long distances it's really good, this car. I've done a few long trips and you know, it just covers long distances so well. Considering the tyres are fairly low profile, there's barely any road or wind noise comes into this car. Very impressive on that front. You've done an exceptional job on the you know, the noise damping. This is an all-wheel drive version, obviously, as I mentioned earlier, and while most people don't need all-wheel drive, I live in an area where it's, as you can see, straight out into the countryside. It's 2 minutes away from my house. I'd have an all-wheel drive model all day long. Because there's literally can go with this UK weather as well in winter, from being reasonably dry and warmish in winter to the next day you're having snow out in the countryside and heavy rain. Obviously you get a lot of mud off the fields around here as well, so the all-wheel drive is really good. A couple of times in really heavy rain it's kicked in when I've been down these sorts of roads and there's been a lot of mud coming off the fields from the sides, and it just makes the drive that much more confidence inspiring really. Something else I really like is that the controls are all really well placed around here for the driver. Sometimes you get cars that, for example, the Ford Focus, my wife has one of those, the buttons are tiny, you can't really see what you're doing, and they're not very memorable either on that particular car. And there's other cars out there like that where you look down and there's a big bank of buttons and you think, you know, where the heck's the air conditioning button gone, or, you know, how do I change this or that on the stereo, and you're looking for ages. Whereas this one's really, the Kia's really simple. They've done really well with the design of it. You know, it's got two big knobs here for the passenger and driver to adjust their own temperature. You've got the fan speed here. You've got three big buttons where you want the air to come out, which vents, and then you've got, you know, rear heat, windscreen, air conditioning, and recirculation. So it's very, very simple. And Kia have clearly put a lot of thought into it before they've done it. Same with the steering wheel controls, you might be able to see them on the camera. Again, really simply laid out, and again, just as an example, look, Ford Focus, which is the 2016 model, it's awful. The buttons for the cruise control, for example, again, really hard to memorise, and there's too many. Whereas this car, there's a simple, for the cruise control as an example, there's one button to turn it on, and you click down on this right button here to set it, and that's it. And that's all you do. Really, really very simple. I've got very used to this car over this 7-month period, and I can safely say that I would buy a Kia Sportage without hesitation. They are a really, really good car. They feel, the Sportage feels and looks, it's very tight around here, feels and looks more than you pay for the car. Okay, inside there are a couple of hard plastics, but on most cars there are anyway. And this is just as an example, just bumping down onto all that gravel and stuff. That's where the all-wheel drive system comes in handy. I'm just going to turn around here. Bear with me. You can see great reverse camera on this car as well, really clear, really good definition. And you've got this these little bars to show you where you're going. Low fuel things just come on. One thing I do like, another thing I do like, should I say, about this, although it's only the 132 horsepower model, I think it's 373 newton meters torque. I'll put up on the screen the pound-feet of that. It's got great acceleration from 40 to 70 miles an hour, which is, if you think about it, that's a lot of the time you're driving in the UK, you're driving on these sort of conditions if you live out in the countryside, or you're going onto motorways and stuff, down slip roads, you know, you're always accelerating from around that speed. And also for overtaking, it's fantastic. Just wave of torque, it's really nice, very smooth, and very torquey. It's quite an enjoyable way to speed up actually. It doesn't make a fuss, it just sometimes it won't even drop down a gear, it'll just sort of stay in 6th gear or 5th gear, sorry, and accelerate 40 to 70 no problem. At first I thought the Sportage was a little bit boring really in the first few weeks I had it on long-term test, but I've really grown to enjoy driving this car and I'm going to miss it. It's just a lovely all-rounder. Like I said earlier, it's very hard to fault this car really. It's good quality overall, you're getting a lot, you're getting good value for money, and I think unless you want to, you know, spend big bucks on something similar in a Mercedes or a BMW or perhaps an Audi or even a Jaguar, I think the Kia is absolutely a must look at. If you're towing caravans and stuff, perhaps go for the higher horsepower model in all-wheel drive, 2 litre, 182 horsepower, and I think you'll find that's you're going to be very happy with this vehicle. Room-wise inside, again, this is feels like a really big car, but it's not huge outside. I mean, but the great thing is it's got this flat dash you can see over really nicely. The side windows are large, and you've got good vision out of it generally. And as I showed in another video the other day, there's actually really good ground clearance on this vehicle, and it's, well, I wouldn't say it's massively capable. It will do what you need it to do when it comes to off-road. So, you know, it's built for sort of soft roading more than anything, but I reckon if you chucked a set of chunky off-road tyres on this, it'd actually do pretty good. You know, it's got the central diff lock, etc. And as an overall package, as an SUV, it's great value for money. Actually, I'll be able to test the thing. It's got the anti-roll function on this vehicle. Yeah, there you go, just holds it on this really steep section. Let's see if we can get it to yeah, this is a 60 limit. Well, this time it changed gears quite nicely actually. As you can see now we're doing 60 miles an hour. It's just lovely to drive. There's no fuss or anything with this Sportage. It just, you know, I'm doing 60, it's just go on that corner. I'm not being thrown all over the cabin. It just handles really nicely. The brakes are great on it as well. Really positive without throwing you forward really hard. You know, nice progressive feel to them. The steering wheel's lovely and comfortable as well. It's nice and thick. I can't really say much more about the car. It's just been an excellent vehicle. If they ever come down enough in price to come into my personal price range, it's a, you know, second or third hand vehicle, I would absolutely look seriously at buying the Sportage. And because I've grown really fond of this car, and I think Kia should be very happy with themselves on this. It's certainly a contender for any mid-sized SUV from any of the manufacturers out there. Definitely go and test the Kia Sportage if you're in the market for that sort of size vehicle, because it's going to easily keep up with the competition out there. And thanks very much for watching, guys, and check out carproductstested.com for the full written reviews of this, and also the reviews of other Kias and obviously other manufacturers.